Okay, we're on. All right, welcome to your painting class. So I am Allison, and if you've done this with me before, Darcy obviously has, you will notice a change in venue, right? Different background than we've done before. I had the internet, it was kind of insane last week. I did a class on Tuesday morning. So Tuesday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, I do a free class. It's an hour long. It's geared towards kids, but a lot of adults are painting, so everybody is welcome. Those are all recorded, and I'll let you know about the links. But essentially, I did that class, and then on Wednesday night, I have a sip and paint class because I do a lot of those as a local artist in the Bozeman community. But my internet about 4:45 p.m. went down completely, no internet. And I had a big class the next day with Polar Bears International. So not just the Allison Zoom meeting. So I ran to my studio. Luckily, Bozeman had just started to open up. So I was able to come back to my studio and the internet here works, but it was high adrenaline craziness to try to get cords to work so anyway, I realized that the internet is much better in my studio. I'm also getting a microphone because that's one thing. If you did the Polar Bears class, or if you do the Polar Bears class, because you can do it at any point, the audio is hard. So I got a microphone so people can hear me. So if there at any point during this class you cannot hear me, please holler at me. So let's go down like the logistics of how this works on Zoom. I know most of our lives have turned to this weird platform, so you may be familiar, but there is a gallery view, right? So I can switch on my screen so we can all see each other. And Darcy's been doing a lot of family classes, so that's great because they can interact with each other. So you can definitely hit that gallery view, but when I really want to show you something, I will pin my video so that I'm in your main frame. A lot of times if you're doing this on like a small telephone or an iPad, it's a little bit trickier, but just kind of play around with it. As you're doing it as well, if you go to the center of your screen, there's a little chat button, and that chat will help me hear your questions. So you can always wave at me, you can unmute yourself, but if you need something, it will pop up a little, like red flag so that I can look at that chat button. So let me know as we do this. It's a whole lot easier to do these when I can actually see you and we can interact as people that are close, but it's kind of been fun because now, I mean, it's great. Like Darcy's family can paint all together at the same time from every corner of wherever they're at. So that is a cool highlight. All right, so let's get to the painting part of this. Oh, before I forget though, okay, all of the videos are on my website. So if you go Allison McGree, and my name is at the corner of the screen down there, that's just my website. And if you go to the events, all of the online events, you can click and join from wherever you want. Everything is just donation based right now. So I think it's way more important for people to be painting right now than it is for people to be paying to paint. So I think that grabbing your kids, family, share as many places as you want to, and always feel like you can fall back. I don't know how many we have now. I kind of lose track of days in this weird time we're in. So there is a backlog all the way back to March when they told us we had to stay home. So use and ask questions. So if you do in video and you need a question answered, by all means, send me a note. I love talking about painting. All right, I'm a painter myself, Bozeman, Montana. I love painting landscapes. So if you look, actually, it's kind of cool to be in my studio. So this side of the screen, this is the corner I actually paint in if I'm not painting outside. And this is the easel that I painted with since I graduated college. So this is my real home zone, and I have a whole area back here. So when we get visitors, maybe I do classes here, so we can do an actual in-person class maybe someday. But you can see that I paint with very bright colors, and I paint a lot of landscapes. You are going to be painting though a flower that is very particular to you, and it was really cool because I didn't know. I love learning about flowers, so I did a little bit of research about the flower, and this is going to be your painting, and I will guide you step by step. So if you have not painted since you were in kindergarten, it's kind of hard to see with the light. Yeah, if you haven't painted since you're in kindergarten, if you showed up for this painting class, kudos to you, because a lot of times we have a lot of resistance, and I'm not quite sure exactly why, but there's a lot of resistance to things that you're not comfortable with or things you haven't done in a long time. And I want you to wipe that away. I want you to realize right now that you are working with acrylic paint or tempera paint. Whatever you have in front of you is just an artwork, right? It could be an amazing artwork. It could be an artwork that you paint over the top of, but try to lose that inhibition. Try to imagine yourself. You all know Darcy has some young ones that paint with her quite often, and they are uninhibited. I mean, they're done before anybody else is done. They just go to town. If I'm talking too much, they're like, I'm going to do the flowers no matter what. I want you to kind of embrace that part of you and realize you are not going to make a mistake. I'm going to guide you step by step, so it's going to be really simplified, and you'll understand how we build up a canvas. But try to, one, remember that you are not going to make a mistake. We can paint over anything you don't like. And a lot of times, my favorite quote is that I think a professor said this to me once, that an artist they never make a mistake, they just change their mind. So try to develop this kind of creative part of your brain where if you put green in the wrong spot, turn it into something else. There's a ton of things we can add to our painting. And in addition to that, I would highly advise you, if you feel comfortable, if you haven't painted, again, since kindergarten, it'll be way easier and maybe more in your comfort zone to follow step by step. But if you feel more comfortable, if you just want to go for it, change the colors, change the patterns, whatever you want to add to this. Don't ever feel like I'm grading you. Adults have this interesting thing in all adult classes that I teach, that they think that they need to do it the right way. And maybe there's an art teacher out there that thinks there is a right way. I am not that art teacher, so I would love for you to just kind of jump and figure it out on your own. So go as rogue as you need to. Even because now I have to give this like prequel if we're at a studio or at a beautiful brewery. If you feel like throwing paint in the canvas, I'd go for it. I'm all for that. If you want your painting to be more Jackson Pollock, which is that drippy paint style, I do advise people when they're not at their own home to be careful. And I try to remind kids of that because that could get a little crazy. But do what you need to do right now. Hopefully you have any snacks you want, any drinks you want. This will go really quick. So usually these classes in real life are 2 hours and maybe a few minutes past. In the online world, it ends up being, depending on the painting, about 90 minutes to 2 hours. I feel like this one will probably be a 2-hour painting, but always feel like you can come back to the painting, right? So always feel like you can add. I grab things off my wall all the time and add things to them, because your painting surface that you have, and I have a canvas, but any kind of paintable surface, anything in your house that you want to paint will work for something like this. I have these kind of just thin canvases right now. In pre-COVID, I had thicker canvases, but these are much easier to transport and to make sure that I can get art materials to as many people as possible. So I have these thinner ones that work well, but a piece of cardboard, mat board, anything will work. But we have this two-dimensional surface, right? So this surface only has length and width. We have width, length, and we want it to appear three-dimensional. So your job as a painter, and I'll guide you through this, is try to make this appear that one thing is in front of the other thing. And we're going to do a lot of overlapping and using colors to do so. And if that made no sense, it's fine. It'll make more sense by the end of the class, I hope. But flat surface, we're making it appear three-dimensional. So for now, on our flat surface, I want you to imagine there are no flowers here, there's no table here, no vase at all. And we're going to start with that background. But let's talk materials for a second. All right, so any acrylic paint works. If you guys need acrylic paints, slide step for a second. I put together these paint kits, and in the Bozeman area, it's been a little tricky just because things are reopening. So I'm going to bring all of these paint kits to my studio now. I could turn the camera, you'll see all of those paint kits, but you get a canvas and a paint kit. If you need something like this, it will be available for me to either ship to you wherever you are. You can kind of see, you get all the paints that you need, really, a palette. You get an eraser and a pencil that I never use, but you can use at any point you want to, a little palette knife and brushes. So if you need that, I don't know how the art supplies are right now, but right when this hit, it was wild. You could not find paint. So if you need that, send me a message, because I obviously have the supplies. I'm just trying to figure out my website so that it's easy for you to click on art supplies and order that. So what you need is really what's in that. So you need a palette, and you don't need a fancy palette at all. You can use a paper plate. You can reuse that paper plate. I have a few of these plastic palettes that I use quite often, but you need a palette or something to put your paint on. That's what just the fancy word palette is for. And then you need obviously paints. You need a little cup of water like this. Don't worry about, you don't need, this is kind of an overfill. Water, it can get a little bit dangerous. Acrylic paint doesn't need a lot of water. And if you have too much water, a lot of times you will put your paintbrush in and it'll start spilling, or you'll drink your water. That happens a lot. So be careful where you put your paintbrush. Don't put it in your wine glass if you have wine. It's something that I have a theory, and it's not proven in any part of any world, but it seems like your dominant hand. So wherever your dominant hand goes, make sure your wine glass is not in that line. It's somewhere to the side. So you do need water, but we're only going to rinse our paintbrushes out with that water. And then we need paintbrushes. Now, I really honestly think that you can paint with your fingers if you need to, because I think creativity and doing this kind of thing is that important. But I recommend at least one large brush and one small brush. And we are going to start with the blended mixture. That background is going to be a mix of white and blue. It's going to be a lighter blue, right? So if you have a dark blue in your kit, grab a little bit of that and grab a little bit of white. And if there's a color that you wish that I had chosen for that background, remember, you're not graded. I'm not graded. I can do whatever I want. So I am going to grab my teal blue, and depending on the quality of the paint, so for these kind of classes, especially, it's a very kind of rainy in Bozeman today, so I don't have to worry about heat, but wherever you are, the paint, this kind of acrylic paint dries pretty quick. So you might need to add just a little bit of water if your paint is getting really sticky, or the cheaper paints are thinned out, right? So these are a little bit thinner. If I'm doing my, I think they're at my other studio. If I'm painting a big painting outside, I have these really cool paints that just dry with really rich color, but at a slower pace. So if anybody is interested in more information, let me know, because I can dork out on painting as often as you want. Okay, a little bit of white. Okay, so we are going to go big brush to small brush, big spaces, and then we're going to slowly dial it in. So try to, at the beginning parts of your painting, just remember the main goal right now is we are going to cover the entire surface of your painting, your canvas, your paintable surface, with this blue and the white, and it really is nothing right now. There is no top or bottom. We're going to switch it up as much as we need to, and then we're going to block in spaces that are going to be very general, so the details, the tightened little areas, are way far down the line. So right now, grab that large brush. Here's my large brush, and you are going to simply take, so just a little bit of paint. Try not to soup your paint, like scoop it and drip it all over your painting, but you're going to cover everything. Every direction you would like to go, right to left, left to right. But our goal right now is to cover that whole surface. Bring me a little closer. So I'm just grabbing in between. I am just doing whatever I would like to do. We do want some contrast. So the only colors I would highly recommend to not put against the background are one color, because the yellow flowers we want to pop out, right? We want the color of the yellow to be different than the background.
We can't hear you.
We want the color of the yellow to be different than the background. So don't choose a yellow, orange, or red background. Nice and loose, right? So don't restrict your wrist and grip it like this. You want it to be nice and loose painting. to the edges. So make sure you're looking at the edges of your painting and make sure you get paint all the way to those edges. This is one of my favorite parts of painting because it's just big open space and you're moving color around. And when we're ready for the next step, we're going to grab a little bit of brown for the foreground or this little table. So keep working on the background. If it feels like the paint is wiping away, like you are removing it from the canvas, you do need to wait for a second. That just means that it's too wet. Ooh.
Allison,
Yes.
it's Patty Casney. How are
No
you?
way. Patty Cassidy is here? Where are you?
So I'm sorry, I was trying to open my brown. So it's on the bottom?
Yeah, but we're not doing that yet. Patty Casney, you made my day. I don't know how you ended up. So Patty Casney was my forever like mentor, like second parent. I grew up, her son is one of my very best friends. Her and her husband taught me about life from like, I don't know, Patty, middle school on.
Oh, bless you, honey.
Oh, I love you. Good Lord. I can't believe you're here.
Oh, well, I'm here because of you.
Well, we're here because of Darcy. She brought all of you guys together. So,
and one of these days I'll be able to afford one of your paintings. But you know, Christopher has one.
Christopher is an amazing human being. He's turned into a great, I mean, he always has been, but
Yes, so Cassie bought one of your paintings for him for Christmas when they lived in Germany. So a 3 years ago.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Oh man, I love the small world of this like universe. That's fantastic. Okay.
Don't you?
So are there any, I see another, is there another Casney?
Yeah, yes, Amy's on.
Amy's on. We've got the whole family. Okay. Welcome, Helena. And I think you're in Butte, right, Amy?
No, I'm in Helena.
Oh, you are? Okay. I couldn't remember if you guys were in Butte. Well, hello.
He lives a block and a half from me.
Hi.
Oh, I love that too. Oh gosh, I'm gonna come visit you, Patty.
Oh, you need to.
I would love to. Okay, we're gonna do the bottom and then I'm gonna harass you now. This is great. I mean, kindly.
It's gonna be really, yeah. I don't know, it's gonna be hard.
Oh no, it's easy. See, now you know my world. Welcome to the crazy Allison brain.
Oh, you are so sweet, honey.
I love this. So it really, I think one of the coolest things about this process that my hope by the end of this is you realize that it really, you break a painting down. It's not overcomplicated. Darcy is like turned into a huge artist, right? You're on almost
Oh,
every call. I don't
Darcy.
know how many art calls you're on, but I see your name quite often doing the painting classes. So I think as you do this, you start to develop the ability to see, which is the whole game in the art world. You start to see, oh, she's talking about, like at first I talk about negative space, which I will talk about, but don't worry about that right now. So don't get nervous and over drink your wine yet. But it's just another language. It's like Spanish, it's like French, it's learning how to see is its own visual language. So that's exactly what I hope to show you. All right, so let's play with the brown. So yeah, Patty, grab a little bit of brown. I'm gonna catch up. We are gonna take our big brush and we're gonna put the large brush in your water cup. Water cup, not your wine, if you guys have wine out there. It happens all the time. I swear I say it. It's like one of the things that it's on repeat in my head. Because it's always sad when you have a fancy drink and somebody says, oh, everybody at first is like, there's no way. That won't be me.
It happens.
And then it is. So let's talk about small brushes because, yes, I said one large and one small brush, but there are a lot of, let me actually just admit my problem. Yeah.
Oh my.
I know. It's a lot of brush. I do teach, so I need some for them, but brushes, you will find a brush that you love and you will find a style of brush, but you probably don't know that yet. So I want to talk about a few different varieties. There is a flat brush, this little flat brush right here. And it either comes in a variety that is nice and straight across, like that guy, or there's a little angle to it. That's my favorite brush, but the other small brush is this rounded brush, right? So there's a better point to it. It's more of a watercolor brush, but I highly recommend just trying them out. If you get frustrated, blame it on the brush as much as you possibly can. I think that's great to do. And remember when you're painting, as we start to build detail to your painting, we want a light touch, right? So you don't want to do a really hard brush stroke. If you push really hard against the painting, the bristles of the brush flare out. So let me show you here. So here I am, normal brush stroke, and then I push really hard, those bristles flare out. And you can imagine that my brush stroke then that I'm trying to make really, really small, it's pretty impossible to do so. Though it's hard to remind yourself because you're trying really hard, so you push really hard, but make sure that you do a light brush stroke as we're getting into more detail. Just a little tidbit. If the bristles of your brush are well warm, grab a little bit of water and just squeeze the bristles together. That will definitely help make it so that you don't have an outlier of a bristle. If you end up with bristles on your painting, it happens to me all the time, just let it dry and you can kind of wipe them right away. Okay, so we are gonna do this ground area next with your brown paint, but I want to block in because we want this to be a glass base, right? So we don't want the brown, it's gonna be not impossible, but just kind of a pain to paint over the top of it. So what I want you to do is I want you to find the center of your canvas, and I will do this with you. So the center from the right to the left, unless you want to go rogue and put your base somewhere else. But for us, the center point is right here. And from that center, so let's do this. I've got a tiny little bit of brown paint. I am going to find the center of my painting, do a little dot. This is called blocking out your painting. This is just planning. This is why the art kit has a pencil, but I am not a pencil person, so feel free to use a pencil if you need to. I think this is way easy to paint over the top of. So I found the middle part here. Now I want my painting, let me double it up. I want the vase to be about 3 inches, 2.5, 3 inches from the bottom. So give yourself about 2 or 3 thumb widths, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 from the bottom, and I want you to give yourself a little dot right there, right? From this little dot, I want you to do just a smiley face. And I know do not worry about it being a perfect smiley face or anything like that. We just want a curved shape to paint around at this point. So I did a little smiley face. right? And it's right toward the middle. It's messy, which is absolutely fine. Okay, now we're gonna forget about this. I will go through all these steps again. So if you are not quite ready, don't worry. But we are gonna do the edges of your painting, which is about 3.5 or 4 thumb widths up from each side. So what we're gonna do now, we know it has to be a little bit higher than this low point. I'm gonna use my thumb and do 1, 2, 3, 4 thumb widths up and a little dot. Then I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little dot. Now, we want those dots to connect in a straight line. So we don't want it to feel like your tabletop is gonna make the flowers fall off of it, right? It happens a lot. It's happened to me. I mean, it happens to me still, all of these different things. So make sure you look at those 2 dots, right and left. Make sure that they're even. And then you're gonna connect the dots on either side of that smiley face. So we have a line, straight, dip, straight. I think mine's crooked, hold on. So it's always nice to kind of lean back from your painting, especially at this step, it's super easy to switch. So I'm gonna lean back and make sure that those 2 are equal. So that is the sketch part of Allison's world, the painted sketch. So if it's messy like that, don't worry. We're gonna be fine. But we want straight that matches that straight with a little curve underneath. Okay, now the easy part of this is we're gonna paint. So whatever lines you have here, you're gonna commit to the ones that you decided are the right ones, right? So I have a couple here, and I'm gonna commit to the ones white, and I'm gonna paint brown on all the sides. Brown is gonna be full brown. We're gonna add highlights to it. I'm going to take my small brush and put it in my water glass. I have my large brush again. Make sure that you take the water out of the brush. The color right now doesn't matter too much, but we don't want drippy water. So I've taken a rag. Paper towel works. Careful of your clothes. I end up with paint everywhere on my clothes just because I forget to stop painting myself. But grab this, and then we're gonna go to this bottom area, and I want you to go just simply fill it in. Now, as we get further along, your brush strokes are going to be more important. So right now, just fill it in, and then if you have a little bit of time, we want the brush here to be side to side. So make sure the texture of that paint is side to side a little bit more. And I'm going to take my big brush and put it in the water cup again. Okay, you guys keep filling that area in. But try as much as you can, don't get too particular about it. You do want it to be straight because we don't want things to look like they're falling off. But right now we're still just blocking in shapes and getting the general color block, like base layers down. So we will have time to get all of your details going. So right now, what I would like you to add when you're ready, we're going to go back to the small brush, and we are going to do either the solid blue. So if you used in your background a little white and a little blue, I want you to use the solid version of that blue. Or if you have just a darker blue, we can use that. But our plan now is I'm going to show you how to build this vase. And then I'll show you how to do the first couple lines so it appears that there's water in the vase. And then we are going to build layers on that vase with some highlights. But remember those, it's always in these layers, right? So we're going to do the background color, and then we're going to slowly add the highlights and the colors here so it looks more three-dimensional. And then we are going to put the green in after that. And then obviously flowers and all of the cool stuff. So make sure you just have a darker blue or more solid blue than the background, because we want a little bit of contrast in areas just like that against your background. I'm going to use this one, but you could use anything that's just a little darker. So I have a Mediterranean and a dark blue, but whatever's just a little different than the background will work.
Allison,
Let's switch us into gallery. Yes. Who said?
Allison, can you go back because I just finished my brown.
Oh yeah. So you just finished your brown down here.
Where do I put this darker blue?
Oh, we haven't even gotten there. You are ready.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. You are ready
Okay.
for the next step.
Okay,
Wait.
I didn't want to be behind.
No, I know.
Yeah.
A+ student. Oh, you're not graded, but if you were graded, you get a star. How about that?
You are so cute.
Okay, I'm gonna get back into the, so you can all see me. Here we go. All right, we are gonna build out your vase. Now I want you to notice a few things that we will end up changing a little bit. We have this huge arc, but I wanted to make sure that we have a curve so it fits on your table, but you will end up with a curve on the side and a slightly flatter bottom. So don't worry about that. If that is something that you pick up as we're painting, that is correct. Our curve is just a little aggressive down there, but we're going to switch it up. We are going to work right now on the sides of your vase, right? So if you look at this, the most important thing about a vase or something like this, these objects, the vase itself, is that it's symmetrical, right? So if I split a line right down here, this should be the same as this. So try to simplify as much as you possibly can so you don't overwhelm your brain with everything. So we have that dark blue in front of you. I have my small brush. I am concentrating. Let me make sure you can see. So I'm concentrating on light brush stroke. And then from the edge of my canvas here, where the brown meets the sky here, I'm going to go a little wide. So out to the side. And then I'm going to stop there because I want to mirror that.
And then what?
I want to stop here because I want to mirror that. So before I move anything at all, I'm going to look at this side, and I'm going to look at this side, and I'm going to do the same exact line. So if I need to tilt it to the side, I can, but I'm going to go on the right side now, and I am going to build. I'm going to go out. Okay, so they should be out in about the same general direction. I have a hard time doing symmetry at an angle, so I had to switch it up a little bit. Okay, so I have that. Now that I went up, I am going to go in for the neck of my vase. So on either side, you're going to go in, and then this should be straight to the middle part of your vase. Okay, so as you're doing this, generally the first time is not the charm. So the first time is like, oh geez, that vase is really weird on the right side or on the left side. That's fine. So if you're in that spot, that's completely fine. Look at your vase kind of from an angle here. Leave the top open and just do your very best to make sure the right side looks like the left side. Now, as you do this, also realize that we are putting flowers on top of this, leaves, shading, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but we want it to be where this side is generally, I know. Okay, so I'll keep trying. My voice, Barb, thank you. I have a microphone that is probably at my house right now. The voice thing has been the trickiest part of this. So I will repeat myself over and over again, and I will make sure, I think that you can hear me from here. But if I'm talking here and you're like, oh, geez, I have no idea what she's talking about, just realize that I'll come back and say it again. And if I do not, please just let me know, because obviously it's important that you hear what we're doing. Okay, so the thing I was talking about is that, one, it can be messy still right now. Two, we want each side to imagine if you split this in half, that this is the same shape as that. We want it to be a very even vase. Okay.
You know, my glass blower, he really messed up my vase, so I'm just gonna go with it.
Yep, you can do that too, and you can always blame it on the glass blower or like wherever you bought the vase from, or maybe the vase got somebody broke the vase. That's an artist never makes a mistake; they just change their mind. So altering the story is absolutely part of the process. It's kind of a cool part of the process because you're like, oh, geez, that didn't work out the way I was thinking. But honestly, when I'm doing my own paintings, when it doesn't work out the way I was thinking, generally it ends up like a better painting, which is a little contradictory, but it's like you just kind of have to let go and let the painting take on a life of its own sometimes. We are going to do a few lines. So right now, in the middle of your vase, I want you to only think about footballs or lemons, because we want a shape that goes down and up. So do you see how that is kind of a football, really like flat football, or a lemon shape, but it has a smiley face down and then a little rainbow at the top, right? So that is the amount of water that is in your vase. So towards the top of your vase, do a smiley face. And then make sure you connect that, because remember, think lemon or football. The edges, even if it's a weird lemon or a weird football, we want to make sure that those points connect. So make sure you do a small little line. Above. So we have one that goes down and one that goes up. Okay. We're going to stick with this. So I'll leave that lemon up, but we want to flatten this bottom out a little bit. So down here, the very bottom part of, you can't see it, now you can see it. So the very bottom part of your vase here, do a small little line that flattens that bottom out. So we have a little flatter surface here that still connects to the side. So instead of being fully rounded, there's a little line at the bottom that goes table more flattened. And now we're going to fill up a little bit, not a ton, but just a little bit of your vase. So make sure you have a little bit of water, or excuse me, a little bit of white paint, not water. Don't do water yet. you have wet glue down here, especially at the bottom. I want you to use your white paint. I did not rinse out my paintbrush, but I'm going to the edges and I'm just not fully filling up this bottom area, but I'm grabbing a little white so it looks like, and I'm going only up to that bottom. That's important. So only up to that part of that bottom. I'm just doing a few lines of that blue and white, keeping my brush moving at that angle. So I'm making sure that I am right in that smiley face bottom part. And my brush is just moving up and down. Try to build up that glass. Let me show you, that one's a little shiny. So this is the line I'm referring to. I'm not going past that line, but I'm doing lines in this direction, curving all the way around. There's no big white or big yellow right now. I'm just doing a little bit of color to start to pre-work my base. And if it feels messy, it's fine. It's going to be messy for a second. And this is the first coat of paint that doesn't have to be solid. So if you still have some blue behind it, that's fine. Take a little bit of white, and at the bottom of your painting, make sure that you do a tiny little drop of white right where that base meets the table. But we don't want it to be that thick, right? So the top part of your little brush, mess that top part up and pull that into the base. So you only really see that tiny little bottom line. Okay, let me go back over all of those steps and you guys can keep up with or catch up wherever you're at. So we did fill in the brown, right? And then we had that big loop, big half circle. But we added a little flat line here at the bottom so that it feels like that base is a little more grounded on the table. We want that base to be symmetrical, right? So we want it to be even on either side. We went up to the sides, little half circle, but then we dove in for the neck of the vase. And if it is not perfect on either side, you can definitely blame it on the glass blower. That works. We then added in some white and blue as a second coat, not fully coating it because we want it to look like glass, and glass is a hard thing to paint. We just want it to look like it's the same color, rounded closer to you than a few of the other areas. So we added that white line down here, made it nice and thin. Try not still, I know it's hard if you haven't painted for a while to not get too stuck on all the details, but still stick with it. I trust the process and realize that there's going to be highlights here and it will kind of start to transform your painting. Let's go in that little and I want you for this, because this is where the water is, you're going to switch your brush stroke. So your brush is now, instead of going up and down, your brush is going to do like a little swivel with white and blue paint right in that little area. So the main thing here is not a lot of paint, but just a little swivel. And that will help out. The swivel is just a circular brush stroke. And if you look at it, you can kind of see that right now, because this is pulling your eye forward, that it looks like this is very empty, right? Maybe you can see that, maybe not. But we want it to all be connected. So I did brush strokes this direction here, little swivel here, and then we're going to do from that bottom line up a few extra lines to connect your glass. So there is a little overlapping here because you're going to go from that bottom line up. I did it way darker, so use white or light blue, but I wanted you to see that. So from here, my angles of my brush are moving in that direction. You can spend a lot of time adding the top in, but it's definitely not necessary. We're just going to do a little bit of white, a little bit of blue. Angles that I was showing you with that dark blue. Okay, one thing right here that I want to mention that one of my painting instructors told me a long time ago, that if you're in this spot, so if I could see you, maybe I would know, but every painting is a U. So you end up, you get really excited, you have all of your bright supplies and things are great, and you're going to paint these beautiful flowers and you're here. As you paint, and I swear it happens with every single thing I ever have painted, you get into a spot, and it probably equates to a lot of life. You get into a spot that you're working on something and you get frustrated, so that the U dips a little bit, right? So from here, I start to bring it down. And with painting especially, you just have to kind of grind through it a little bit and realize that, yes, maybe let something dry. You can paint over the top of anything that's not working, but you just keep working on it, because the other side of the U is so much higher than the beginning part, and you will do something that you've never done before, or do something you didn't think you could do. So try not to get stuck here in the low part of the U. Just trudge forward, keep breathing, enjoy your wine, all of those things. You're with great friends on a Zoom meeting. So there you go. Okay, so we're working on the base. Don't overwork it. So light colors, not too much. We're not filling in big spaces. I'm going to take this small brush and I'm going to put it in my water glass, and I am going to grab green next. If you do not have green, you can easily mix yellow and blue together. So make sure you have a little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue still, because if you think about the grayscale of a color, so if I have yellow here, as in like the brightest part of green, and then I have blue here, and as the darkest part of green, like a normal green somewhere in the middle. But if I have yellow and blue, then I can make a lot of dimensions between that green. Check everybody out, see everybody okay? Nobody's yelling or crying, that's good. It happens, sometimes it happens. And I have to remind people that we're not in surgery, we're painting. Good. If you guys, so if you ever want to talk to each other too, it's a very, like, if my larger classes, I always, I mean, obviously we all want human interaction right now. So I would unmute everyone, but nobody could hear me talk. So in a small group like this, feel free to unmute and talk to each other. And at the end, so at the end of the class too, I will put the painting up and you'll be able to chat with each other as long as you want to, or look at the details of the painting. But for now, we've got yellow, we've got green, and we are going to do the stem of your flower. So the stem, now my brother is a banker / accountant, so a lot of the reason that I mentioned this is because my brain goes for angles instantly. Like it always wants things to be uneven. His brain, obviously, thankfully, I guess, for us, is not angular. So my brother would like things to be in a line. And it's everybody in my family, spreadsheets are great for them. I'm not into that. So try not to be, if you have that normal brain set, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to have different angles. But I want you to remember a few things about the visual arts, and things in odd numbers are more interesting, right? So we want things to be in odd numbers, 1 3 5 7 9, meaning that, and we want things to be at different angles. Otherwise, it looks too prepared. So if I had you do your stems and it was like 1 2 3 4 parallel stems, you will look at it, it'll kind of drive you crazy, even if you love things being even. So for this, try to let go of that a little bit, and I want you to centered in that middle area so that it feels like, we don't want the flowers to feel like they're falling out of the vase. So let's do this. I'm going to grab my and I had a little bit of white paint on it, which isn't a big deal, but I'm going to take, this is why I have an apron. You can't see it, but it's full of paint. I just wiped it right on my apron. And I'm going to go think of the center point of that vase, right? So here is the center part of the vase. I'm going to go about halfway up where the water is, and I'm going to do a line that is light, right? So don't push too hard. So light all the way up. And then I want to focus still in the center, so I'm going to go a little higher up. Light pressure all the way up to the middle. Another line. Opportunity to just go rogue. So all we are doing is light from between that smiley face of where the water is and the base of where your vase are. You are going to go light and then focus, because you don't want these, you want them to be a little connected, but I'm adding just a few uneven. So check that out. They are not even. And some of you are going to definitely want to do that. I love that. But for now, don't do it. I know. So we want them to be up and down a little bit. Like about 6 or 7 of them is perfect. And then I'm going to make you guys a little crazy because we're going to throw a few dashes of color here. So you have green on your brush. I haven't added any extra green. I'm going to go the outside of my brush, and I'm going to do a confident few brush strokes here and one there for some highlight. I know it's going to be a little bit scary for somebody. Breathe. It's just paint. This is easy. This is really easy to go over the top of. Sometimes when we do, this morning in the kids class, I did a black wolf. That's a little bit more difficult to go over the top of. But everything is figure outable. Okay, so from here, dip a little bit more green. I want us to start to build up the highlight of this green on the side of the vase. So it's I guess it's, yeah, still the right side. We are not going to touch the vase here. We're going to do brush strokes, uneven ones, sorry, uneven. Right to the side. And that's not the last coat on that either. That's just a little green showing up. So let me go over that again as you guys are working on it. But uneven is the name of the game. We have the stems of your flowers that we started to grow from the middle. So center line of that base all the way down to the table. And we we started from the center of that base as well. So we don't want your stems to go all the way down to the bottom. We wanted them to be floating up top. And so we have these lines that are going at different angles, but they're still, imagine a rubber band or something holding them together. So they're still a little tight around the middle. And then green on the side. All right. So keep working.
Allison,
Yes.
can you do that again, please?
Oh, yeah, from which part? Where do you want me to start? From
Oh,
the,
well, I got my little stems,
okay,
but now I need the next thing.
yes. Okay. So you've got
Yellow and green on the side.
not yellow yet. You read my
Okay,
mind though. We're about to
I'm
move into
there.
yellow. So anybody that's ready, grab your amazing yellows and get ready for that. But we have
Okay.
your stems. The next thing we did is we added just 2 single brush strokes, which you will now have an appreciation for contemporary artwork, modern artwork, because it takes a lot to do just one brush stroke, right? It's a little scary. It takes a little confidence, but 2 brush strokes that are uneven for the highlight of the green on one side and then one on the other one.
That's what I
And
missed.
that's what you missed. And then we have a little bit of green. Remember, there's some highlights that are here on the table as well. So don't let those highlights touch the vase, but those highlights are going to go from right to left, just on that right side, right on top of that brown.
Oh my. Okay,
Good to go?
I think so.
Okay. So now you read, so we are ready. The next step is exactly what you were anticipating. We are going to start to build our flowers. So grab some white, make sure you have white. Make sure you have every variety of yellow that you have. Yellow ochre. So if you have a paint set like mine, like this one here, there is a yellow ochre that looks like a brown, but is very cool for this. So make sure you have a little yellow ochre if you have that. If not, I'll show you how to mix different colors. Add white, let's see, white, yellow, yellow ochre, and orange. And breathe. So if you stop breathing, shake your hands out.
Didn't Van Gogh love yellow ochre?
I think he did love the yellow ochre. So, but the cool thing about those artists that is so different from our time is they made a lot of their own paints. So, I mean, they made a lot of their own paints with chemicals that maybe made them a little crazy. That's the whole earlobe incident. But yeah, turpentine turns out not the best thing to put in your brushes and then bite on. But even when I was in school, we used turpentine. I don't anymore, but we know a little bit more about what it does to your body. So choose your vices, I guess, and turpentine is not.
Allison, can you hold your ochre up again so I can see it?
So this is the yellow ochre.
Kind of greenish brownish.
Yeah, very light, like a khaki color.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So think about when we're doing this is that, okay, so think of the color wheel, which I know if you haven't had an art class since forever, maybe that's not something that is right on the top of your mind like it is in my mind, but we have warm colors. So we have red and we have orange and we have yellow, and we have primary colors, secondary colors. We have this whole beautiful color wheel. But essentially, so we have warm colors, red, orange, and yellow, and then we have cool colors, blue, green, and purple. And what we want to do is make sure that we use them at the same point. If we mix them all together, if you've ever done a painting that's turned to every degree of brown, it's because you're mixing colors that are opposite on the color wheel, so they're not able to mix. If you mix colors that are near to each other on the color wheel, like for instance, blue and red, you end up with a purple, right? So, I mean, we could do hours and hours on how to mix different colors. I think it's kind of nice if we don't have too many colors, because it's a cheater. I mean, I have 32 pack of different colors here, and it's definitely easier to just pick up a color that looks more like sage green or a light yellow to do that. But don't feel like you're restricted if you have a more limited palette. I'll just try to guide you through mixing colors. I think that that's a cool thing to do too. So yellow, white, any kind of yellows at all, and a little orange. Let me make sure I catch up to you guys. I'll move over and I'll make this here. You can start to see that. You can always grab a little red too, or a little pink. Pink is red and white, so if you want them to be more vibrant, you can add those colors in. Kind of ivory white works too. Okay, so I've got, I think I'm good. Okay, so what we're gonna do first, we are not worried right now about the petals. So these come later, and really the green just will fill in space. So try to remove the green from your visual perspective and try to remove all the petals. And we're going to focus on the center dots of the flowers. And they are a little bit more orange. They're not even, again, same kind of thing. They're not even in line, but they kind of flow throughout. We want to take this entire space above and turn it into flowers, but we're going to start with the center part of that, and then it will kind of easily overlap. Small brush, get the water out of the brush, and we are going to actually start with orange as the richer center, and we want, let me see if I can do this. We want them to be circle-ish, but I'm going to go on the far side here, and I'm thinking I want flowers everywhere, right? If there's too much orange, it's really easy to go over the top of, but let's do little circles. And then they move. Okay, Vicki. So if you get lost at this point at all, it will, it's really, really fine. So we are just doing little dots that are going to be the center of the flower, and then we're going to add the petals later. So I'm looking here, and I'm just making sure my dots are off center. Right? So it looks,
Okay,
it honestly looks a little
Allison?
weird. Yes.
You're kind of cutting in and out. So, we want how many centers?
No, we want it to be off-centered. So,
Okay,
yeah. So we want as many as you'd like. So this is a great opportunity to add in as many flowers as you want. But if you look, do you see how, you know, like
how many do you have, Allison?
I
Seven?
have,
9?
and I have more than 9. Hold on, let me see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 18.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and we can always add more. So this is just kind of like the pre-step before we add the flowers, because we can always add more to them. We can add more flowers around them, and we probably will. What's our next step is going to be doing the yellow petals, and we are going to make, so they are gonna almost overlap each other. So you're gonna end up with a smaller flower and a larger flower very easily. So let me show you that. So I still have orange on my brush, but it's not dripping orange. So I'm gonna take my brush and I'm gonna dip it into my yellow. And I'm going to choose any flower at all, any circle at all. And I want the petals, so we're thinking that daisy look, right? So it's rounded. Let me show you. It's rounded on either side.
So it's not around the orange, but kind of above it.
Exactly. And the great thing is the orange is probably wet right now, right? So as I do the little orange, or the, excuse me, the little yellow lines around it, think of that as the center of the wheel. And I'm gonna bring that wheel or the center or the petals all the way around that wheel. And this is gonna be one of your largest flowers. There's nothing else in the way.
So Allie, are the petals now in yellow and white, or are they just yellow? It's hard to tell.
Yellow, and I know it is really hard to see. Yellow and white.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. And you don't have to rinse out your brush at all. But yeah, yellow and white, intermix those, and it will end up a little orange right now. So the orange center we are going to build from, but then when we come back at the end, we're going to build all of our petals. We're going to do little drops of orange to make them more distinct. So if you look, that orange area that is more defined is the second coat of that orange. Okay, so then as we do that, you are going to build the rest of your flowers, but they're going to be different sizes because you're going to have to nudge up to the other one. So I'm going to do this next one, same way. A little bit of yellow and a little bit of white. But it's smaller just because this one took up that much space. So I can overlap a little bit, but it doesn't have to be all the way across. This one is a good example. So this one you see up here, orange, because that's so small, I'm going to overlap, but I'm going to make a much smaller flower. Now, if that doesn't make a whole lot of sense of how to do that, just vary the size of your flowers. Make one larger, make one smaller, and we're going to do that through all of the dots of everything that you have here. So it's going to take a little bit of time. Still just yellow and white, and we're still just blocking in the shapes right now. Keep breathing. Sometimes that happens when we get here. And you can use straight yellow if you want to. But I have all of my yellows and a little bit of white. Let me, so maybe that will help.
Allison, is there any rule of thumb about, like, you want to create the flowers on the lower level before you create the ones on the top, or how do we create dimension that way?
Oh, well, don't worry so much about dimension at this point because we have a lot of different things that we're adding, including the green. So that's a really good thought. But in general, I would say start at the bottom.
Okay.
And then we are overlapping the base of it. So if I start, I'm going to fill one in, and this is going to be our next step. So you can do it any way you want to, but I'm going to fill one in so you can see it. I want some of them to overlap that base.
Yep.
about that. So if it gets too small, you can always just use your brush to do the full filled in petal. Little rounded lines. Okay, also as you're doing this, you will notice little gaps. So it feels like there's a gap somewhere and you want like, see right here, there's a little gap. I'm gonna put another yellow or orange dot and build up another flower. So if you haven't painted forever, I want you to think about as you're doing this, try to experiment. Remember, it's just a painting. It might be something that you can start to enjoy. Experiment with your brush stroke. So try not to make it too. Imperfection is kind of not part of the process or any process. So try to play around with kind of like fast brush strokes and then slower ones. Wrist nice and loose the whole time, so you can have a nice easy brush stroke and keep breathing the entire time as well. So keep working on your flowers. So you can see how kind of light and almost muddy it is right now. White and this is the first coat. Keep on reminding yourself that's just the first coat of the painting.
Oh, I missed one.
Karen, let me see yours.
What?
Let me see.
You're gonna make me show?
You can tell.
Okay. Well, I'm this far.
Oh, I love it. Very
Some
pretty.
of them look like petals and some of them not.
I think I got a little crazy.
And my brush keeps wanting to get
Not
thick
the
with
big.
paint and the lines are not good.
Say
But
that
it's
again.
okay.
Mama, listen, Allison was telling you something.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just saying that the big picture. So try not to get too fixated on the itty bitty parts because remember, if you look at the painting, you're not looking, our perspective sometimes gets really stuck. And I think it's important to make sure that you try to train yourself to walk away from your painting, which is hard in a class like this because you're all at your actual painting station. But
Huh?
way easier for me, I like painting standing up because I can move back, put it on that wall. I can put it on that wall for months, and like this one needs to come down. I've been looking at it and needs a few extra things on it, so I grab things down after I change my perspective. So I try not to get too fixated on the minutia, the tiny itty bitty parts. Right now we're thinking color, just yellow color, beautiful yellow color, and we're going to tighten it up with some smaller brush strokes later. So try to remember, loosen your hand. Ooh, Darcy, that's good.
Hey, let me see. You're such a smarty. Oh my gosh. It drives me crazy.
Like a true mother, right?
Yeah.
Let me see yours, Barb.
Not yet.
Darcy,
Pretty
did you?
bad.
What?
Darcy, are yours just outlined or are they all filled in?
No, outlined. I'm just messy. They're just big giant flowers.
Oh, and mine are inky dinky.
You know, my philosophy in life is go big or go home. Let me see yours, Grace.
I don't know if I can show mine because of my background thing.
Hey, Darcy.
What?
I love it.
Can you see it?
Mine's very abstract.
It's hard to show mine because of my background thing.
Yeah, it goes in and out.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're not missing anything, I promise.
stop. Jill,
Patty,
how is yours, Jill? And Donna, are you with Jill? Oh, look at that. Awesome.
oh, nice, Jill.
Nice.
What about Vicky? Where's Vicky?
Yeah, where is Vicky? I gotta move my screen.
She's not. I don't know if she wants
I would
to.
rather not, thanks.
Okay.
That's the CPA in her.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
So Vicky, keep breathing. If you have wine in front of you, that helps.
Yes.
Just remember, I drove my brother crazy my entire life.
It's just, I'm not hearing most of what you're saying, so it's getting frustrating.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Brittany, show them yours. Look
Wonder
at Brittany's. She's doing really well. She's doing much better than her mom.
Oh, wow. That's
Oh,
great.
wait, I didn't get a C. Do it again, Brett.
Bye.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, great.
Very nice.
It looks better on the camera than it does on real life. Was my experience as well.
So Allison, are we supposed to be kind of filling these in now?
You are filling them in. Yes,
Whoops.
you are filling in.
Okay.
I'm sending Vicky, her audio's not working, so I was typing for her. You are filling in the flowers with white,
Mine's much more yellow.
White, yellow, and orange. Hopefully she got that.
Yes,
remember
I
there's
see
a-
that.
Circle center, U shape petals. Okay,
I'm gonna turn the light on.
maybe I'll just keep
Yeah.
typing. That. Yeah, the internet is really interesting right now. So if you can't hear me, sometimes it's my side, which is why I moved here, obviously. Sometimes it's your side, if like the in and out. I think the we have overloaded the entire universe as far as
We have.
Wi-Fi.
We have.
Yeah.
We have.
So we'll do our best, and I will try. Think of me as your mime. I can show you step by step, and hopefully you get it. Otherwise, go rogue. Just do what you need to. No need for more frustration in our universe right now. So breathe deep and paint whatever you need to. Okay, so yes, we are filling in those petals. It looks like you guys are getting close to filling in those petals with yellow, white, and a little bit orange.
Yep.
And we're going to do a little highlight before we move into our green. So the sides, just like we did with the green, I want you to do one little highlight of yellow. Let me move it to you again.
Yellow on the side.
I want, so we want a little highlight here, right? One highlight on the side, and then on the right side, we want two lines. So 2 lines here, one line here,
Right. Mhm.
and yellow and white. So small brush. Yellow and white on my brush. And then on this side, 1, 2.
You're doing green now?
No, not yet, not yet. Just yellow and white. Just the
Oh, okay.
highlight that's on the base.
So, oh, okay.
What
Allison,
are we highlighting? I'm not
can you
catching
go
any of this.
back, please?
Yeah.
So also we were all I moved from was filling in the flowers. So we filled those in the petals of the flowers, and then we looked at the base itself, and we're just gonna do one brush stroke here with yellow and white. We're sticking with yellow and white, so there's nothing other than yellow white. We are gonna do one brush stroke here. It's gonna go over the top of the base
Green.
brush, and then we're gonna do 2 on this side. So it looks like this. Yellow and white here. 1 brush stroke here. And then I'm going to go to the other side and do 1, 2 brush strokes on the other side. And then
I know. That was not sarcastic.
okay, so keep working on that. I'm gonna maybe I'll say it to the whole group. Wherever, there we go.
My centers are getting lost.
Mine are too.
Lots
So
of
we go back
petals.
and redo the
Yeah.
centers.
Do the orange. 3 more flowers. Trace moss.
I forgot to do that. Color that one in. I missed one.
Right. So 2 brush strokes on the right side, 1 on the left, and a little bit of yellow. Moving right to left. Mine's a little light, but we want a little bit of that highlight. Yellow, you can always grab a little bit of green and calm it down. Okay.
Over,
Yes.
Allison,
Yeah.
we're putting yellow down on the background now.
We have only put yellow, so we filled in the leaves or the petals of your flowers. We did
Oh,
2 brush strokes.
I didn't get that. Okay, we're doing the leaves.
We're not, well, we're about to do the leaves. I meant petals. So fill in just the
Okay.
yellow petals. We are moving into the leaves. So
Okay.
far, right now, we have the vase, we have the table, we have a little highlight to the side of the vase. And then we have filled in the petals of your flowers, but we have no
Right.
green up here. We have a few little highlights of yellow, as well as the blue that we did much earlier on the side of your vase, but small little brush strokes, and we can always add those in a little bit later. We are now going to move into green. So definitely you're right. So grab some green.
I got it.
And remember, I'm checking my messages. So if you look at that group chat, I was trying to give everybody that's why it looked weird probably because you saw my typing face. I was typing. So Vicky, I think, is having a hard time hearing. And so if you have a hard time getting the details, holler at me here or there, and I will get as many things as I can going at the same time. Okay, so now we have 2 different types of leaves. I don't know why I keep saying that. But yeah, so this part of your flower. So we have the leaves and we have the stems and we have kind of like twigs that are going to grow up. We want this to be so I'm going to show you how to do a few things in the middle. I'm going to show you how to do a few things on the outside of that, especially
Okay.
the ones we're going to start, like Darcy was saying, it is easier to do from the bottom layer because this is the area that is overlapping the vase that we want to look closer to you. So we're going to start here and then we'll kind of backtrack up. And if that made no sense at all, don't worry, just grab green paint.
I've got it.
Okay, let me make sure I have mine. Okay, I've got my small brush. I'm going to move to the side. I am going to focus just on the bottom. I'm going to grab my green or football.
Allison, I'm not hearing you.
You are not hearing me.
We didn't hear anything past grab your small brush.
Yeah, okay.
Right. That's what I heard.
Welcome to the World Wide Web. I don't know. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have our small brush. We are going to do the leaves around the petals. Our brush stroke is going to go up and down like a football or a lemon shape, right? We're going to start at the bottom of your painting right down here. So grab your green paint.
Yeah.
From here at the bottom, we're going to do 2 lines, and they're overlapping that football shape, overlapping the top of your base. We're going to do 2 more lines right to the side of that, and we're going to fill those lines in. Right? Now I'm going to show you. Yes.
Could you go back, please?
Yes. So we are doing a football shape or a lemon shape. So an upward angle and a downward angle. Rainbow, smiley face, whatever way you want to see that. I am going right at the bottom. And I am overlapping right on the base with an up and a down, up and a down, And then I fill it in with green paint. Jeez.
It helps when you hold it close like that.
Good. Okay.
I can't hear you.
It's either that football shape
No.
or it's gonna be this next line.
Okay.
Okay. Oh man.
Sorry.
Cannot wait to see you guys in person. The Zoom stuff is gonna make me crazy. Okay. I'm actually getting like a whiteboard now. Hopefully Vicky's still out there if she can't hear at all. Know that I ramble a lot, so 99% of you are not hearing is not important. It's just talking about art. So remember, if you can visually see what I'm doing, try to train yourself to do that too. It's not easy, I know, but someday we'll see each other. Okay, so we are going to do this line that goes off to the side. And that line here is like a filler in a plant base, right? So it is a straight kind of curvy line that has a few little vines on it. So from here, I'm going to go up and down. So I've got the curvy line going. And then from there, I'm going to do little lines that are offset. And that is messy. But you get the idea, right? So these are the things that we're doing, as well as in between the flowers. So in between, so this is what we've done so far. Half circle, like football shape, line. And then the only other thing that's more tricky is that right here at the bottom, we want to see graphic. So we're going to add a few brush strokes that are just green. So you're going to take your brush stroke and go right below. Which looks like this. I'm going to go right below the flowers. Make sure it's inside the base. And I have a little bit of green here. And then in between, if there's a lot of blue space, just use small brush strokes for that. And then for a little bit of green. But I want you to see both of these. So let me try that. On this right side, we are going to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. And all of those lines overlap the flowers a little bit. Remember, you can always add a little bit of yellow and blue to that. If you feel comfortable at this point, you can go rogue and put greenery all the way around your flowers. I'll guide you through step by step though if you're not quite as comfortable. But so far we have the right side and the left side. And then move over to that left side again. And I have a little gap here, so I'm going to add a little bit of green in the middle of that gap. And then I'm going to have a line off the side. And that line is the same line that I have. So I have a little line, and then I have offset little lines going back against that. Then I'm going to go all the way up to the top. Shapes. Full circle, but surrounding those flowers so that they're more centered. You can see that this one here, finished painting feels like it's more grounded with the greens. So that's what we're doing here is we're going on all sides. Grabbing the green paint. So there's a couple of leaves to kind of bookmark the flower. Remember to look back, so stand back from your painting. If you get frustrated, especially, maybe take a break and walk away from the painting. But we always want, in case Vicki can't hear, you guys keep working. So we're going to keep working the greens, and those greens are all the way around. So remember that we are focusing all the way around. Those are the greens we're working on. Then all the way around. You guys want that closer? Do you want me to keep holding it up?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Wrist. If you haven't met Mercury at all during any of the paintings, then you are in love. We have 15 minutes left in our 2-hour class. If you can tell me anything else, At least in my brain, I can never do that. It's wild how fast this stuff goes. Let me make sure that I am getting as close as possible. But as we enter the last stages of the painting, this is when the details happen, right? So this is when anything that feels messy or big, we are going to grab the smallest of the brushes that you have or the lightest touch to the brush that you have. But really the last couple things are going to be adding a little detail to the leaves as well as adding a little bit of detail to the petals. They also add detail to where the table is.
Allison,
Yes.
I'm really, really pleased with mine.
Oh my, okay, so you have to show us then. Hold on.
No, but I think that the bottom part needs some help.
Okay, so then that would actually be great. So show me, Patty, and I will help you.
All right.
This is what I actually do in real life.
Gosh, I love flowers.
Love that.
So
oh my
there
gosh.
I am.
Okay.
Oh, I can't see.
Bring it a little. Can you bring it a little closer?
I think I'm Bengal.
I think you are. Oh, the flowers are great. So what is it that you don't like about it though? Oh, yeah.
It's the bottom.
Okay, so where the base hits. So bring it up,
Yes.
Patty, just a little bit. Yeah, okay. So two things. We need shadow and highlight on that brown so it's not straight brown. And we need to do a small itty bitty line on the base of your vase. So take a look at this.
Oh, on the base of the vase.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna do
flatten
those
that
things.
out a little bit.
But I am so pleased.
I love it. You made my. I cannot believe the
Gosh, I
Cassies
just
are in this
feel
class.
like this is my masterpiece.
That's
Thank
good.
you.
Patty, you should keep painting with us. I mean,
oh, well, I kind of question myself, but okay, so I'm going to do a little line at the bottom of the vase.
Yep. So if anything else missed that, yep, tiny little line.
And a little white in the brown.
Yep. And this is green and a little bit of yellow to the side. Because imagine we have our light source here, right?
Okay, I have a little yellow.
Yeah, throw a little yellow in there, throw a little green in there. And if you throw too much color in there, just add more brown.
Well, love color.
I know, me too.
Yeah, me too. Okay, all right.
Okay, do you feel like you're back on track?
Yeah, so I want to see everybody else's.
Oh, we're going to do a group photo. Don't you worry, Patty. We've got a little bit of time, but we will do a group photo and we'll see everybody.
No.
Oh, I don't need to post it on all the whatever World Wide Web things, but it's great. I sent it to Darcy, then she can send it to all of you, and it's really cool. Her whole family did a painting of cows the other day, and they obviously stayed on way longer than I was done because the paintings, Darcy, you should send those paintings. They're phenomenal. They're like
and I love the cows.
Have you seen the cows? But they all took it on their own little road, which is like my hope and dream for everybody to do, is to take it on their own little road. And they did some amazing cows. So
Natalie,
that video too, huh?
Oh, I put some blue on the bottom of the base, and it's great.
Okay, keep it. That's a good thing. So that is another thing that's important during these classes, is to remember the last brush strokes we are doing are the ones that we don't want to overdo. So we go from big, crazy, sloppy brush strokes, and then we slowly tighten it up. So if there's something that you like, I don't know how many times I run around and I try to convince people to not overpaint their painting. Honestly, completely honestly, you have to make mistakes. I think that's the coolest part about painting, is that you do something and then you have to be like, oh, that's what she was talking about, or I shouldn't have added that color, but you have to jump that level to come back from it, I guess. So I think the only way to really understand painting and drawing, and this will not be everybody else's experience, this is AllisonMcGree.com trying to tell you how to paint. But in my painting experience, I like to make mistakes. And I like to try to figure out how to change it or alter it. I think that it's kind of crazy to think that people do it instantly, like lickety split. I can paint a cow. I mean, there's things also about these classes, hopefully these classes, but any painting classes, is it gives you appreciation for people that paint or draw, because you're like, oh, I tried to do flowers and I thought that was easy. I tried to do red paint on top of blue paint. Not as easy as it looks. So for whatever it's worth, the appreciation for people that do it phenomenally will grow and grow and grow. But hopefully, you turn into a Darcy, you turn into like the ultimate painter in COVID-19. Right?
So great.
I love it. I mean, it really is. She said the other day, she's like, I think this is therapy. And I was like, oh my gosh.
It is therapy. Yeah.
Right? Throwing paint at the canvas, knowing you can't mess up, come back. We'll do it the entire summer if we need to.
Yeah.
Hopefully not for, I mean, honest, I'm going to paint forever, so you can join me at any point. I would just like you all to be here where I have seats.
So
Oh,
Alice,
Darcy.
oh, yeah, fun. But how do we make this more subtle?
Which part? Okay, I gotta switch you out. So let me check you out. More subtle. Which part? Point to, oh, the green?
Yeah.
Add more brown into it. Just to add a few little brush strokes of brown into it. So if you have too much of an aggressive,
Okay.
and I do here, so way too aggressive, right? You want it to be brown. I'm gonna grab a little bit of brown. I'm gonna switch so you can see me.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna grab adding color and then erasing color. So I'm gonna add a little bit of brown.
Yeah.
And you see how it kind of blends in almost instantly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have about 10 minutes left of the class. I want to give you the details that are the kind of the finishing touches or the icing on the cake or whatever way you want to say that. But you are going to use your smallest brush, and we're going to start with yellow. So your boldest, brightest yellow, grab that. If you don't have a bold, bright yellow, grab white. Small brush, rinse it out pretty well. And let me show you this guy. We're going to start with the leaves. It's one of the best ways that it was described to me is that it's not a mask. You're not doing a full coat of color here. You're doing like face paint. So imagine you're a cat for Halloween and you have a full cat mask. We're not doing full cat mask. We're doing the kind of like face paint on top of it. So a very light covering of color. And super impressionistic. So this one, we don't really worry about the details of it, but and then do a few small brush strokes around the outside of just a couple of those leaves to lighten them up. And again, you can use white. Or you can use yellow. I'm trying to make mine more aggressive so it's easier to see. But just a few, they should only take a few seconds because you're really just brushing a few little light colors on the top. Then what I want you to do is grab that orange paint that you started with, that orange paint that was the center dot that you did. And I want you to overlap every single flower.
Oh, yeah.
Because very often you lose track of that. Now that you have orange on your paintbrush, look to the right side and do 2 little dashes at a curve. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to let you catch up. And I'm going to type to make sure Vicky. So right side, 2 little dashes. I am doing every little circle with a combination of yellow and orange. Let me tell Vicky what's up. Okay. We're going to keep moving through that. Vicky, did you get my notes?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Does that help? Is your audio getting better at all?
No, I can't hear you at all.
Oh, that is so frustrating. Okay, I'll keep typing, but type to me if you,
You know, we're almost done. I'm fine.
okay. Well, I'm here to help, so you just let me know.
No,
Okay. All right. So last little bit here. See, isn't that crazy? 8:24. It's wild how fast this goes. So last little bit is kind of up to you. So it is, now you have to look at your painting, and this is what I actually do. Okay, so I know you can't see it, but it's really important. Thank you, Grace. That's exactly what you want to do. So you want to step back from your painting. You want to squint your eyes a little bit. You want to look at it not as the thing you are fixated on. So not the itty bitty part of your painting that you think that isn't perfect, or the green part that you don't like, or whatever that is. Squint your eyes. Imagine you need contacts or glasses or something like that, and look at it collectively, because we want essentially yellow, green around the outside, and a nice base on a brown surface. So you're looking at it and you're trying to see where it is. Now at this point, there is, like I said a little earlier, there is a great ability to overpaint your painting. And it will happen at some point, but if you have the capacity to kind of give yourself a little time out and realize that maybe over a cup of coffee tomorrow, you can look at it. You have supplies at home, which is really cool, so you can go and add to it. I will put this painting up. I will send Darcy the video so you can look through the entire video. It's still recording, so I didn't mess this one up. You can pause it, you can fast forward it, you can do whatever you want to. And really, like, honestly, one of the things to learn how to paint is you paint the same thing over and over again. So if there's any of the paintings that you've enjoyed painting with me, do it again. It kind of seems a little maybe crazy, but I in college found a shiny spittoon, you know, like the thing that people spit into their tobacco. I didn't realize that was it. But being a Montana girl, it kind of felt perfect that that's what I found at a thrift store to paint. And I did 20 paintings. So my entire thesis was these spittoons of shiny objects. So you learn a lot by painting the same thing. And I am here for whatever. I'm trying to figure out this summer. So if you guys have any input on if you would like to paint again throughout the summer, I'm up for it, or doing plein air painting. I'm trying to put together a longer term class if people are interested in doing more of like a, you know, like a more in-depth landscape lesson or something like that. So all ears, I'm here, and I'm here for questions. So let me put my painting back up.
So
You guys are
Allison,
awesome. Yes.
Oh, it's Patty.
I love it. I know.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited. So I think I need to turn it around, right?
Oh yeah.
You
Well, I gotta
know,
see yours.
because I'm not. I quilt, but I'm not artsy.
Patty,
My
are you kidding?
granddaughter are
Granddaughters. How many granddaughters do you have now? I should know
4.
that. Sorry, Amy. 4?
4. So can you see it?
It's great.
No.
Where? Oh yeah, I can see it. Oh, it is. Oh wait, you know what? Hold it up because I'm gonna speaker view you so you can show everybody. Oh, Patty, the like
I
ultimate
am
learner.
so pleased.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
These look like the daffodils in my yard.
I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Everybody else's.
Okay, let's do this. Let's do a, and I know some of you, actually everybody seems okay. Poor Vicky can't hear me, so that's a bummer. Okay, we're gonna do a group photo. And I am going to send it to Darcy tonight. All right.